My mother became violent when I told her I wouldn't pay for my half-sister's education after she kicked me out of the house, but I agreed to let her sell her house to pay for the lawsuit. My mom has been trying to talk to me and see me for over a week, and I don't know what to do. I know what you're thinking. It's your mother. It's an easy decision. Just go see her and find out what's going on, right? Well, not really, because she hasn't been my mom for a long time. Honestly, I don't even think she ever truly believed she was my mom. I think it would be fair to say that I was the only one who ever believed she was my mother. But she isn't anymore. I guess I should give some context before randomly asking a bunch of strangers on the internet a question. My name is Selena. Of course, it's a fake name since I don't want my past on the internet. For the past few years, I've shared almost my entire life online, but my past is something I'd like to keep to myself. As a child, I realized very early on that my dad loved me much more than my mom did. At that time, my mom, Jenna, still cared about me, but that changed after a few years. I was happy back then since I had a good life. My parents earned well, and both loved me. But an accident took my dad away, and everything changed. My dad was a firefighter, and one day he passed away while trying to save others. You could say he died a hero, and he will always be a hero to me. My mom changed a little after my dad passed away. She became a bit cold and distant. I was struggling too. Well, a few months after he passed, the business my mom had started with his help began losing a lot of money. I don't know if it was my mom's fault or not, but after about a year, the business completely collapsed. It was really bad for us since we had been very well off financially. The collapse of the business and the loss of the fortune my mom had built with my dad did me no favors. She slowly started believing that I was behind everything. Not directly as if I had done it myself, but more like I was the bad luck that had caused it all. I hope this sounds as absurd to you as it did and still does to me. But for some reason, she kept thinking that all of this happened because of my bad luck. She started to hate me. I hadn't done anything and was so confused. When she lost the last bit of love she had for me after that, she started treating me as if she was obligated to care for me and had no other choice. Every time she looked at me, she made a disgusted face, and I felt like I was nothing more than a burden. Believe me, I loved my mom and tried my best to get her to love me back, but it didn't work. It got so bad that at one point even I started wondering if I really was cursed and if my mom was right. After that, she never truly considered me her daughter and only provided my basic needs. The worst part of all of this was that I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't convince her that it wasn't my fault, and I couldn't make her love me. I couldn't even run away. I felt like I was trapped in my worst nightmare, and every day I woke up disappointed that the nightmare hadn't ended. I'm not joking when I say that I try my best never to think about my past. That's how horrible it is. Every time I think about everything I went through, the tears start flowing from my eyes just like they are now. But don't worry, I got out of it, even if I was pushed out later. For several years, this was how my mom treated me every day, like a sack of stones she was forced to carry. She never took me anywhere for fun or bought me things I wanted. She only provided what was strictly necessary. She made both our lives miserable since she wasn't happy and wouldn't leave me alone. I tried talking to her and even arguing many times, but she would just ignore me or tell me to shut up. She wouldn't even speak to me. At some point, I got tired and stopped trying. I accepted that my life would be like this until I was in a position to change it. Right before I started college, my mom told me she was engaged to a man who would soon be my stepfather. You see, she had been dating Marcus for over a year, but she had never introduced me to him because she believed I was bad luck in person. I knew she was dating someone, but I had no idea who he was or what he looked like. It was clear that he made her very happy, and for that reason, she wasn't going to listen to me even if I didn't want her to marry him. I told her I was happy for her and had no problem with it. I talked to Marcus for a few minutes, and he seemed like a normal guy. He didn't try to impress me, but I also got the feeling that he didn't want me living with them, though I wasn't sure if that was his plan. After meeting him, I did my best to stay out of the way and not cause problems. I knew that if anything happened, I would be blamed. But, as always, something happened, and my mom decided to blame me. About a week after meeting me, my mom and Marcus had a huge fight. I don't know what it was about because my mom refused to tell me. Instead, she got really mad at me, claiming it was my bad luck. I was so tired of everything that I didn't even try to defend myself. I told her I wasn't trying to cause problems in her life. She told me I was now an adult woman, and if I did anything else she wouldn't tolerate it. I knew trying to explain to her that she was just dumping all her problems on me was as useless as explaining to a hungry shark why it shouldn't eat me, so I didn't even try. I started college. For the next year, no matter what problems she had, she always blamed me. They got married, and I wasn't even allowed to attend the wedding. Then my mom got pregnant and did something I never expected her to do. One day she called me and said she was pregnant and couldn't take any risks. She told me she didn't have enough money to continue supporting me while taking care of her new family. She was tired of carrying the weight of my bad luck. She told me she was done with me, that the child she was expecting marked a new beginning for her with her new family, and that she wanted to keep me away from it. She said she couldn't risk me hurting her new family, and with that she kicked me out of the house and cut me off completely. I begged her to at least support me so I could finish college, but she refused. Well, I tried to convince her to change her mind, but she had already made her decision, and I had to leave. I was lucky to have a part-time job and good friends who let me live with them rent-free until I had enough to support myself. I had to drop out of college and struggle for a long time. I'll spare the overly emotional details, but it was really tough. I ended up renting an apartment and working 2 jobs. But, as they say, with enough patience and effort, things can get better. And they did. When I started living alone, I discovered a new passion for cooking. I started filming experimental dishes and trying other people's recipes. Slowly, I gained a small audience, which inspired me to dedicate more time to it. A year later, I quit my part-time job and focused more on making videos. A few years later, I have a good number of followers and make good money doing this. I have my own house now, and I'm very happy with how my life has turned out. Even before my mother contacted me, I tried not to think about her or her family. Sometimes I would remember what she did to me. All I ever wanted from her was love, but she couldn't even give me that. I don't hate her because, without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. I do what I love. I make a good living now. Let me tell you what happened recently. A week ago, my mom somehow got my number and started trying to contact me. I ignored her for a few days, but I had to respond because she kept insisting, and I didn't know what to do. She told me how much she missed me, and that she wanted to talk about something very important. She said that even if I wanted to ignore her, what she had to tell me was important for me. I told her I would think about it. I don't want to see her, that much is clear. But at the same time, I think it could be something like a genetic illness or something similar that I need to know about. She made it sound like it was something that would matter to me and that I needed to talk to her. That's why, even though I'm not exactly thrilled about the idea, I also think meeting with her for a few minutes might be important. What do you guys think? Update 1. A few days have passed since my post, and believe me, I've read all the comments left here. There were those who said I should meet with her, at least to find out what she wanted, and those who said that a hereditary illness wasn't worth it if it meant seeing my mother again. I took the first option because if I might be sick, I wanted to be prepared and get tested if necessary. But we'll get to that. I agreed to meet her in a public place because I wasn't going to give her my address. We met at a restaurant, and as soon as she saw me, she started crying softly. At first, I thought she was dying because she didn't seem like she was acting. She was really crying as if something was truly wrong in her life. That also scared me because I thought she might really be sick, and that I could have the same illness in the future. The first thing she did when I sat in front of her was say she was very sorry, and I was already starting to feel a drop of sweat roll down my back because of what she had to say. First, I asked her to calm down because I was also starting to get anxious and to tell me slowly what was so important. She said she was deeply sorry for everything she had done and that she wasn't asking me to forgive her. She said she knew what she had done was unforgivable. She admitted that she couldn't live with how unfortunate her life was, so she convinced herself it was my fault. She said I didn't deserve any of it, everything she did to me. All I ever asked from her was to act like my mother, but she couldn't even see that. She apologized again for kicking me out and not contacting me and said it was the biggest regret of her life and that she would carry it with her, even if we were to reconcile in the future. This was already too much, so I asked her what she wanted from me now. Then she showed me pictures of my half-sister and my stepfather and said she wanted her family to be whole again. At this point, I felt a little relieved because she wasn't sick, although I was also a little disappointed that she had made me believe otherwise. She said she couldn't live with her mistake any longer and wanted to fix it, or at least try. She begged me to give her a chance to start making up for everything she had done to me. She said all she wanted from me was to reconnect with her and her family. I told her I didn't come here to reconnect with her, and that, according to her own words, she had something important to tell me, something that would affect me. But so far, she hadn't told me anything like that. I even told her that she had made it seem like she or I might be sick because some of the things she said over the phone had suggested that. Maybe I didn't share all the details, but one thing she said was that my future could be in danger because of something she recently discovered about herself, and that she was feeling very tired and weak. She replied that she knew I wouldn't want to see her if she didn't exaggerate a little about her life now, but she insisted it was true that she was feeling tired and weak because for the past few months she had been feeling very sad, realizing that she had lost me, and that my future would be in danger because I wouldn't have a family to rely on. I got up and told her that if she had nothing to say that actually mattered to me, I might as well leave. Because how she was feeling lately wasn't something I cared about, nor was it something that would keep me from sleeping well at night. She told me to think about it a little before cutting her out of my life, but I didn't think it was necessary, and I told her so. We had already ordered food, but I left anyway. At least I hope she could afford to pay for the meal after her little lie. Update 2. You guys were right. My mom hasn't changed one bit. She just wasted my time and turned a few weeks of my life into something even worse. It hasn't even been a week since my last update, and let me tell you what really happened. Not only did she lie to get me to meet with her by making up something very serious, but she also lied about wanting to reconnect. I know it was my interpretation of what she said that made it seem like she might be sick, but at the same time, her tone over the phone and the way she said things, which is hard to convey in text, were what led me to believe something serious could be happening. If she had said something serious was happening to her, I wouldn't have cared less. 2 days after that conversation, I knew my mother wasn't the kind of person who would change that much. And if she was so desperate to reconnect, to the point of using lies as a way to get me to meet her face to face, there had to be something she was hiding. I knew something was wrong and that she was keeping something from me. I didn't know exactly what she wanted from me, but I had a feeling she needed something. So I asked someone to investigate everything about her and her family. Before I could get any answers, my mom started insisting on my decision. To buy some time, I told her I was ready to take a step toward rebuilding our relationship. I figured that if she was lying to me, then it wasn't wrong for me to lie to her. I could have just walked away from all of this, but at the same time, I needed to know what her true intentions were. If it was money, I needed to know what she needed it for. And if she believed I was bad luck, maybe I could believe in karma and wait for her to get what she deserved after so many years. This morning, the person I asked to investigate her life called me and told me what she was hiding. It's a relative, but I don't want to reveal exactly who so my mom doesn't figure it out. I had a good idea that if she needed something from me, it was probably money, and I was completely right. There must be a statistic that says if a relative contacts you after several years, it's not to ask for a board game for their Saturday night gathering, it's to ask for money. And if I had to guess, it's money they'll never pay back. Because at the end of the day, family always supports each other, and all that nonsense. Recently, my mom and stepfather have been going through a lot of financial trouble, and they both have a massive debt hanging over them. Turns out my mom tried to start another business and failed. So I guess I wasn't the source of the bad luck after all. Maybe she just doesn't know how to run a business. Their situation has gotten so bad that they can't even afford a good education for their daughter, and I guess that's where I come in, to help. What I don't understand is why she played this game with me instead of just telling me the truth. I would have found out anyway, and as soon as I learned about this, I would have assumed she wanted to use me. But I guess she clearly believes she can manipulate me into helping her. I've asked my mom to meet me at the same restaurant in a few days, and I'm going to give her exactly what she deserves. I'm going to say everything I've wanted to tell her for a long time, but first, I'll order something even more expensive than last time before leaving without paying. Hopefully, it will break her heart and make her realize what a horrible person she is, along with breaking her bank account. What I'm going to do sounds petty, but it's not like they serve $1,000 Russian caviar at that restaurant. I'll probably just order the biggest burger you can imagine, the special fries, and 2 milkshakes. Although, now that I think about it, this plan might have a few flaws, because now I'm considering staying and eating all of it. We'll see how it goes, and then I'll tell you all about it once it's over. Maybe I even have another surprise for her. Update 3. It's been over 2 months since my last update, so let me get straight to the point because too much has happened to go into detail. After everything I learned, there was nothing else to think about or consider. Yes, my mom and her family were going through a rough time, and yes, I could easily help them. But my mother had the audacity to try to manipulate me into helping her. I'm not saying I would have helped her if she had been honest from the start, but at least I wouldn't have been angry with her for trying. First of all, how dare she even think she could get something from me after everything she did? And by the way, she doesn't even feel remorse for any of it. Forget about regret. After Dad died, her love for me simply disappeared. Because no normal person could do and say the things she did to her own daughter. A few days after my last update, I went to see my mom, and she was so happy that I had agreed to give her a chance. We met at the same restaurant, and I was surprised to see that even after knowing I had caught her in a lie, her act was still convincing. I admired her dedication to manipulating me. She was fully committed to the lie, and I let her talk for a while. Then I told her that if she didn't know I made videos and earned a good amount of money, she wouldn't have contacted me. I told her that if she had a problem she wanted my help with, I'd consider it, but I wanted to know everything now because I didn't want any surprises later. It was already hard enough letting her back into my life. I couldn't believe I had just walked even further into her trap. For a second, she struggled to hide her surprised reaction. She hesitated and acted as if she didn't need anything. Then I told her I was only going to ask one more time. She finally admitted that she and her husband hadn't been making enough money, which had become a problem since they couldn't fully support their daughter. She said she wanted her daughter to have the best education possible, and that if I could help with that, she wouldn't need anything else from me. I guess her plan was to emotionally hook me and then ask for more money to pay off their debts. But I was done playing her little game. I told her I had looked into her life and knew about her debts. I told her I was willing to help, but only her. I made it clear that I would only help solve her problems because I didn't consider her husband and daughter my family. She got a little upset after that comment and asked me why I was saying such things. I told her I never got to know them, and they were the reason she kicked me out, so obviously I had no reason to help them. Then she started begging me to help her daughter, saying she had no other choice. I told her I didn't care what happened to her daughter because she wasn't my family. I had never seen her in my life, so I didn't see why I should help someone I didn't even know. She tried to show me a picture on her phone, but I told her I didn't have time for that and that she should be showing that picture to the bank to see if they felt sorry for her and gave her a loan. She told me the bank wouldn't lend her any money after her second business failed since she had taken out some loans she couldn't pay back. And here's what I said that made everything spiral out of control. I said, well, maybe the bank doesn't like dealing with unlucky people, and now they want their money. Well, that set her off. She hit me and pushed me so hard I fell off my chair. Then she started throwing plates and utensils at me until the restaurant staff threw her out. I was pretty shocked and didn't know what to do at that moment. A lot of people were staring and some helped me. I didn't expect her to get that aggressive over my comment. A few days later, I found out that a fan of mine was at the restaurant and had recorded part of the fight and posted it on Twitter. A lot of people were talking about it online, and the video was going around. So, I contacted the fan, who happily gave me the video and even agreed to help. I thanked them and used the video to have my mother arrested. The video clearly showed how she attacked me, and the restaurant staff confirmed that I hadn't done anything. My mom was arrested, and she sent my stepfather to ask me to drop the charges. I hadn't had any contact with my stepfather in a long time, and the only reason I saw him now was so he could ask me to drop the charges. Yeah, like that was ever going to happen. My mother didn't get jail time, but she did get a fine. I think that was worse for her, because in jail, she would have gotten free meals, while outside, she only got more debts. I won't say I'm sad about what's happening to her and her family, because I'm really not. Yes, my plan was to go there, order something expensive off the menu, tell her a few things, and watch her suffer knowing her firstborn daughter wasn't going to do anything to help her. Her transformation into a plate-throwing rage machine was all her fault. I never physically attacked her to deserve that treatment. If anything, it was all her fault and karma's. Oh, and before I forget, I ordered a combo meal that comes with several items, and if you eat it all in under 2 hours, you don't have to pay. I had only tried a few fries before she used them as deadly throwing knives against me. It only cost $100. Still, I didn't pay anything because I gave the restaurant all my mom's information. Besides charging her for the meal, they needed to charge her for the table she broke when she climbed on top of it to hit and push me. Well, my mom looked like a bull in a china shop, except this was a family restaurant. Update 4. Wow, these past few months have been crazy with everything that's happened with my mother. For starters, she got sued. By me. Imagine reconnecting with the daughter you threw out like a stray dog and ending up getting sued and having to pay her. If that's not an Uno reverse card, I don't know what is. We didn't have to go to trial because my mom agreed to settle out of court to save money on lawyers. During that settlement, we also found out the restaurant was suing her for causing a scene in front of their customers. Wow, things escalated fast. She begged me not to sue her because her debts were piling up and the bank's interest rates were getting higher. So, you could say I took pity on her and only asked for $7,000. I didn't want to be greedy and ask for, $100,000 because I knew it would take a long time to get any money from her. I saw my half-sister during the process because my mom used her to make me feel bad. And she succeeded. I did feel bad for my half-sister for having to keep living with my mom. I even heard them arguing outside one of the meetings. I'm sure my mother was also blaming her for being the source of her bad luck. 2 failed businesses, 2 different ventures. Of course, it must be the daughter's fault, right? As part of the agreement, my mother has to sell the house I grew up in to pay off her debts. That was the condition I set in the agreement if she couldn't come up with the $7,000. Well, the house is up for sale now. I hope this is the end of my story with my mother, whom some people have called Ninja Mom because she attacked me by surprise. I thought ninjas attacked stealthily, which is not what my mother did. She looked more like a drunken sumo wrestler on top of that table, and when it collapsed and she started throwing everything within reach, she looked like a beached whale. But yeah, I hope this is the end. So I'm saying goodbye to all of you, just in case we don't see each other around here again. Edit. I've already received my money thanks to the sale of the house.